What's good, Internet, and welcome to our special Halloween episode for 2024 on Super GG Radio, where friends chat about video games and all things adjacent. I'm your Xenomorph of the podcast, Eric Getty Gettinger. With me, as always, is the human equivalent of a facehugger, Alex Arona.
I'm warm. I'm all sorts of snuggly. I get all up in that face, and I give it a hug. Who doesn't love that? That's me.
Your description makes me feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I should call HR.
It should.
Who's
Especially
HR this week?
Especially with the hug comes with something wrapped around your throat.
Yeah, and the stuff that goes down your throat. Don't forget about that.
It's a whole other thing.
Definitely calling HR.
Yep. We also have a man with the perfect look to be a chest burster, Joel DeWitte.
I knew I'd never make it to the end of the movie.
That's not even the end.
I appreciate that you took it one direction, and the joke was a different direction. So,
and what direction was your intent?
You have not seen the movie, so the chest burster has a very unique look about him.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What about in Scary Movie where it wears a top hat?
Bald.
Okay. What about in Scary Movie where it wears a top hat?
No, that was in Spaceballs.
That was Spaceballs.
Oh, Spaceballs? Okay.
Yep.
I get them confused.
Have you seen Spaceballs, Joel?
I have.
That's as close as you're going to get to Alien.
Okay.
Without actually getting there.
It's a good point of reference.
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell Brian, and then he'll make you watch it.
All right. Lastly, we have Alec Parks, who just barely survives this encounter.
You know, that's all it takes is just barely climbing onto that shuttle to get out of town.
I'm proud of you, Alec. I'm proud of you.
I didn't think I was going to survive either, though.
Well, the night is still young.
No one did.
It's usually one person that survives.
Alex does not have last girl energy.
The final girl.
Alec does not have that energy.
Out of all of us, who's going to survive?
Oh, I'm assuredly first with Alec right up like a close second. I would say it's you two. You two probably. I would say maybe Getty.
Yeah, I think Getty's the survivor.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep running then. Bye, guys.
And that's why.
You just need to be the least slow person, right?
You're going to nope out so fast. Joel would at least investigate.
And I would think I can take on whatever it is that's hunting us. Yeah. Wrongly. Very, very wrongly.
You know what would get you, though, Getty, is those bubble baths.
Yep.
That'll get you.
Only take bubble baths.
No, that's when you die.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you get desynced.
Yeah, I don't know what protocol is here this week, so we are just going to talk about one game. Just one thing. That's all.
The scariest part.
That's all we have is Alien Isolation. And we played it, so maybe you don't have to, or maybe you have played it, or played it in anticipation of this episode so that you could hear our thoughts and feelings about it.
Join in on the discussion by sending us an email, and we'll read it out loud on next week's and the next time we record.
Yeah, thank you. Next
to amend that
episode.
mid-sentence. Yeah,
I got it. I fixed it.
A kind reminder: this is our Halloween episode, and if you're listening to this, we won't have a episode the following week because we will be recovering from Extra Life, or we will be Extra Life. It's definitely
we'll be preparing for it.
Mentally, physically.
I'm so excited for it. I sent Laser an Instagram reel about a lady just walking around with 4 corn dogs, and I was like, "That's the energy I'm bringing." Just happily with 4 corn dogs.
Did you guys already cut out caffeine?
Wait, what?
Were we supposed to do that?
It's going to be a real sad day for you guys.
I'm drinking more than ever now. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, that's not good. This is going to be a real weird Extra Life.
You're saying we're supposed to detox before we get to Extra Life?
I highly recommend it.
Okay.
That's a really good idea.
It's actually not a bad
Got
idea.
my fancy bubbly water here, and I haven't had caffeine in 3 days. Does that make me grumpier? Probably, but...
You probably have a lot of headaches, too.
Yes. Yes, I do. But speaking of headaches, not entirely to the point, but we'll get there. What is Alien Isolation? So this game has actually been out for 10 years this October, and it is a sequel to the original Alien movie.
What's funny about this is that there was a little bit of an online celebration for it reaching its 10-year anniversary, which also led to the developers announcing that they're making a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually works really well in our favor to like having played this game right now.
So now this is going to somehow fit into the hierarchy of Alien movies, because this goes right after the events that occurred in Alien. And then there was a movie last year? Or was it earlier this year? Romulus?
No, it was this year.
This year.
And that is supposed to take place shortly after this, or maybe Aliens.
And the director had said that this was the video game was inspiration.
Okay. So Alien Isolation is a first-person survival horror game, putting you in the shoes of Amanda Ripley, who is the daughter of Ellen Ripley, the main character from Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, Alien 11 teen, what have you.
Resurrection. There was Resurrection, and then I think there was 4 of them.
Other games?
No.
Or movies?
There was,
These are
yes,
movies.
there were other games.
Okay. All right.
What other
There was
games?
several games. There
They
was
were-
an arcade game.
Okay.
Hold on, let's see.
There was an arcade game, and there might have been a couple of... Nothing to this scale, though. Nothing that is...
Oh, no.
Canon.
Well, nothing like this. How about that? No first-person survival horror.
Canon.
Are you asking about canonicity?
That's what I said.
My apologies. Yes, there was not really any other canon games. Unless you want to take Alien 3, the NES game or Sega game.
I don't know that we can count games
'Cause
that
that's
are
technically-
like the movie game,
Yeah, that's also what I'm saying. I'm like, I don't think that counts.
because that'd be wild. Okay. So, the setting is space.
Off of Jupiter.
For a small portion of time, and then you're on a space station.
No, but I mean the space station is right near Jupiter, right?
I don't doubt it. I just
Yeah,
wanted
I
to
think
like set the feeling like you are out in space. But the majority of the events that take place in the movies and in this game happen on a space station or a ship of sorts. And this time,
and actually, they do a really good job of just painting the set dressing by starting with your start menu screen, just showing Jupiter with a very tiny space station just off the cusp of it that you could barely see it in that menu. It's a cool visual for me. I like a lot of negative space. So seeing Jupiter and then that little space station.
They did some really cool thing. Even when you get to the start menu, it has like this old school feel to it. It'll flicker, and even the title card with Fox Studios, like what is it,
20th
20th
Century Fox looks like a VHS tape.
Yeah.
Reel. Yeah. Yeah, they understand the feel that they need to go for this, for sure.
I think
the kids say they know they got the assignment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid that phraseology a little bit.
Joel, your kid's driving you nuts.
It is a challenge to retain vocabulary that doesn't devolve into brain rot speech that happens in middle school. Let's put it that way.
Nice.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a thin line. You got to be careful. So what are some other pieces of information you need to know? The space station that you spend so much of the game on is called Sevastopol. There's a rogue AI called Apollo. And you aren't alone on the space station. You do encounter some friendlies. You have Samuels, who is an android. And you have Nina Taylor, who is an executive from Wayland Yutani. And for those of you that know about the movies, you will notice that usually those aren't very nice people.
Wayland Yutani has been a problem, just like what's the Terminator company?
Skynet.
Skynet, yeah, Skynet and Weyland Yutani. I think there was a kind of a joke crossover at one point. Like there was a comic where Weyland Yutani and Skynet are doing business together.
No. Where's the Better Business Bureau when you need them?
It's all above board. It's all above board.
Yeah, sure. Until the AIs go crazy and the androids start killing people. Speaking of which, it doesn't take very long during the course of the story for something to go terribly wrong.
So it is Ripley and her crew, and they go to. Well, why do they go to the Sevastopol? Because they're in their own ship.
They're investigating the distress beacon from her mom.
The black
Yes.
box.
Or looking for, black box recording to try to find her mom.
Because it has already been 12 years or something like that since anybody has heard from Ellen Ripley. And this is the first lead that they've been able to pick up on. At the same time, the Weyland Yutani Corporation wants to get their hands on it because there's secrets. There's always secrets.
Always secrets.
So that is why you're going to the space station.
And of course, you get there and everything goes wrong. A little bit like Dead Space, where you just happen to go check out the signal, and then all of a sudden you were like, "Oh my God, something bad's happening!" Like, are we getting? We're not getting attacked, but like she ends up getting shot out into space and slamming into the space station.
Yeah.
Which is it was a really good cinematic thing because like it's you and your crew just get like really jettisoned out in a real manic way. Everyone's grabbing for something, and first person you're just slamming into the side of this giant space station building, clinging on for dear life. It's a really cool introduction.
This game has a lot of really good striking set pieces. There's some zones where it shades everything in sort of like a bright red that kind of looks really threatening and ominous. Anytime that you're in the outer space portion outside of the actual space station, they have this slowness that they force on you since you're wearing the suits to go out into outer space, and they have these slow, clunky sounding movements that frankly, when you're out there isn't much real danger, but they try very hard to ratchet up tension, and it works pretty well until you figure out the trick of it.
I mean, a lot of this game does a lot. It does things to ratchet out the tension. I've been playing. I played the game for like 15 hours, and it wasn't until like the last hour that I was clunking somewhere, and I go, I know nothing's after me. I know nothing is here. I think the sound that's freaking me out, and that has been freaking me out since the jump, is my own feet.
Yep. It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
There's-
it's like it's the sound design's really good.
There's that. There's like the little crackling of space debris in the backdrop. They'll do tiny little bits of stringed instrument kind of shrills, but it's very muted. It really is the environmental sound more than anything.
I like that there's very specific keys as well. One that I always liked was okay, you got to power on the generator, pull this switch 3 times, and every time you do it, you hear hum, like you hear like the horns, hum, hum, hum. Like it's a whole horn section that's really like making me nervous every time I pull that lever. And that I thought that was like pretty cool.
The reason why it adds an element of anticipation is that everything in the game is actively looking to find you, and the littlest noise can set off a chain reaction. So it starts with humans that are out to, maybe not out to get you, but everybody's jumpy right off the gun.
And trigger happy.
Yes. That was
more or less the station's gone to hell in a handbasket, and everybody's sort of sectioning off into different factions. And one of the first guys you meet, he starts by attacking you, if I remember right, but then it quickly turns into him trying to convince you that it's okay to kill people because it's survival of the fittest at this point.
Yeah,
And
he
they
puts
fired
a
a gun
gun
at
to
me.
your head. Yeah, he puts a gun to your head while you're trying to unlock the elevator.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
No mercy.
And then it just keep going. It keeps on going from there because people start to get really like stressed out and like then you do end up meeting a friendly group, but you can't really trust them, and then that even turns on its head in a whole other way.
Who can't you trust? Well, hold on. Let's take a couple of steps back. So in the course of the survival horror game, you are slowly gifted and you have to access different items. So the first thing you get is like a multi-tool or a wrench, whatever you want to call it, that you can use as a weapon. I want you to know that those people that shot at me, I ended them. All of them.
Yeah, okay. All right, so I did want to get into this, Getty. I did not first off.
Are we going to talk about the conversation we had? You're like, humans aren't a thing. And then you probably got to a chapter with more humans.
I did, but that's not what I was talking about. First off, 12 hours in, and I did not know that thing could shock people.
What thing?
The stun
baton
wrench thing?
Yeah.
What do you mean you didn't know that the stun baton could shock people?
It's a cattle prod. What did you think it did?
I just tried to hit people with it over the head.
It's a separate item, Alex.
I thought it was just whack. I thought it was whacking people in the head.
You have a wrench and you have a stun baton. Those are two different things.
And see, I didn't even put that together.
What do you mean? What do you mean you didn't put it? Oh my gosh! All right.
But then I figured out how to use the stun baton 12 hours in, and it's very helpful where I'm at now. But that was one thing.
Oh, it's not going to be.
But number two, well, where I'm at right now, it's okay. But the other thing was that you really started off like murderous, and I thought I was under the impression that it was like, okay, I have to be extra careful. I got to sneak because I was dying really fast.
Nope.
I was dying really fast. Like
it's you or them. Given the opportunity, but that's not even. I did some pretty awful things.
And the loading screens are all like, Ripley's not a fighter, but she's not violent, but she will defend herself. Yeah. And there are other people just trying to survive. Don't kill everybody.
Nope.
And that's what I'm saying, Alec, is that that it isn't until I realize that I can choose the path of violence and I get a better understanding, or you get a better understanding of what it takes and how easily they are killed as well, that the game kind of started to become a little bit easier, because I was like, because it was always like, oh, I'm supposed to sneak here, go into the vents, do the thing. No, I'm going to murder that thing, murder that person, and then murder this other thing. And then I can just walk around as much as I want.
Wait.
So
before,
that's how it works.
I just want to know, androids, where do they fall on your scale of morality? Because androids are a big part of the movies. They're a big part of this game. And they are... Not all of them are as intelligent as Samuel's, because he is one of the better models. He is a superior android, if you will. And all of the generic-looking ones. Do you feel they're alive?
There's the two... It depends, really, because there's the Seegson Corporation and the Weyland Yutani Corporation, each producing
Weyland Yutani and Segan.
Yutani, thank you. Each producing their own different androids. And I really feel like the Seegson ones, they're not people. They don't matter. Kill them. They've got
good,
no
because I did.
The Joes?
The working Joes.
Working Joes, yeah.
Yeah.
But they have personality. That's the weird thing. Like, you will see them just doing random stuff and having conversations in a deep, like, robot voice, but they are still doing stuff.
Not in because we have a little fact area, a fun fact area. Not in that fun fact area, but if you watch them enough, they do a little jog. And the reason why is that in one of the Alien movies, the android does a little jog, and they kind of said it's canon that they want to keep their joints loose.
Okay.
See, I just see it as like two AI chatbots talking to each other and interacting with each other as some sort of protocol for those. But
I like how they're looking for you, though. They're like, they at one point they even say like, "You're making me waste company time," and in my head I'm like, "Good." That's the only kind of chaos I want to bring. I want to make just waste corporate money. You're not helping. Good. good.
Yeah, these androids definitely did not read Asimov.
Well, that's the weird part. At some point, Samuels does say, like, oh, the androids can't attack people. That goes against the primary, rules that are set. Like,
Nope.
but they are. They're just killing people in front of you.
They snap necks and they cash checks.
Oh, the bodies that you find all over the space station.
Right?
There was one that was in a chair, and he had a magazine stuffed down his throat.
But I mean, also, I just got to
an android that did that.
I also just got to a section where it's just like a pile of android bodies, and that's pretty good.
Don't feel bad about that.
I don't feel bad.
Good.
I mean, you find there are bodies in bags all over the space station from the moment you set foot in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no secret that things are dying.
Yeah. People are dying left and right. The space station's going to hell in a handbasket. But I like the kind of slow introduction of the different threats. It takes like 3 or 4 chapters before the alien becomes a factor, even.
Yeah, because we sort of touched on the first human interaction outside of the conversations. You have this big open room where it's 3 or 4 humans wandering around in there, right? And you first walk in and they start shooting at you, and you have to pick up the multi-tool at the end and sneak your way out. I struggled mightily with that, and the reason is the same reason Alex mentioned about trying to be stealthy. Because walking into this, you think about how the alien tension and sort of sneaking around is, coupled with experience with stuff like, what is that first game we played? Amnesia, where it's so focused on just trying to sneak and not be seen, to where once you accept that things like the torches are incredibly important for baiting people into different parts of the room, just flinging one to the side, and they'll go on and saying someone's in here trying to mess with us, but at the same time they'll go walk over to look at the flare. So there's that, noisemakers, tools, all the stuff that you can craft with items throughout. Very
Smoke bombs,
helpful in those
flash
early
bombs.
hours, definitely.
Yeah. So they do help, and then until they don't, you start to get to the alien finally makes his appearance, and when he does, it's pretty much like, I just got a gun, and it's gonna do nothing.
Well, it's not going to do anything against the alien. Joel, the noisemaker? I confessed earlier that I did some terrible things during the course of this game. When the alien starts to come around, and there are humans...
I know what you did. I
threw a noisemaker right into the middle of a bunch of humans, and he went nuts.
Yeah. Let me tell you, some of my favorite parts of this game have been when I'm walking into a room, there's a human or character or two that are clearly going to attack me in just a moment, but then the alien pops down and they just get completely distracted and you get to run for it.
Yes.
That was always I got really stuck in chapter 7 or whatever, where it is just like you went through this giant spiral hallway and you do the thing that you need to do, and it's like, okay, now go all the way back, and it's just littered with humans. And that is what I did, is I noisemakered, hid in a locker, and then just heard the alien just massacre the entire group.
Now, hiding is something that you can do in this game, and it might increase your survivability, but it's not guaranteed. No. Things will find you if you're hiding in a locker, or if you're hiding in under a table in a vent. I guess it really depends on where you're hiding, but sometimes they will just open it and they will kill you right there. The alien, androids. I don't think that I ever got attacked by a human in a locker, but I really didn't go to a locker when there were humans around because they're squishier than the other ones, and I always felt like I could handle it.
The lockers were always my last resort when it came to trying to survive for it. It is
really?
It slows you. I mean, it slows down the pace of the game. For one.
It does.
Secondly, to Daddy's point, it's not always guaranteed that it's going to help you when it's the actual hiding. You have to be far away enough to where the aliens or humans don't hear you rattling the door.
Also, you have to. There's like you can move. You have a little bit of play.
Yes.
And so you move back.
So
You have
you
to
have to move back, and sometimes if the alien's close to you, you have to hold down a trigger button. I think to hold your breath. So like some of that cool stuff that you even see in something like The Quarry now, with the kind of hitting the button to hold your breath kind of stuff. So neat tools for the tension on that stuff. It's just, and I know this is purposeful, but you just can't see quite far enough around you inside it to get a sense of when they've actually gone. And you have that radar.
The scanner.
Which which is
bad
a critical tool. It gives you both the objective direction to go in as well as a radar of any living thing that's walking around. If you hold
and it
on,
makes me nauseous.
Really?
and it makes noise. So
Yeah.
if you're in that locker and you're like, I wonder if they're gone, and you pull it up and it's just they're right there. Well, now you just let them on to know that you're in there. So it's again, I found myself being able to competently sort of sneak around a room using some of the items if necessary to distract, but for the most part it was sort of the musical chairs walking around a table or a counter or something
Under
and
desks
waiting
and
them out.
under tables, surprisingly the best place to hide. For
Yep.
whatever reason, I felt like nobody could see me when I would do that, but nowhere else did I feel really safe.
I like a good pillar.
So you can
like a good
kite
pillar.
whatever it is around the pillar.
Well, they
Androids
can't
especially.
see me, but it like
Yeah, the working Joes, you can just create a conga line.
yeah.
Not
And
smart.
also just again like the alien, I've definitely been like the aliens right on the other side of the pillar, and I just rotate around him in a way that like they never see me. It's the best. It's the best. If I have a good pillar, I'm super pumped wherever I'm at. I'm like, doesn't matter what happens, just rotate around this pillar and I'm good. And that's kind of I do want to say like that was one of the things I like about I do like about the game and I don't like about the game because I am a big scaredy cat. So the opening 5 hours of this game were very nerve-wracking, but it definitely got to a point that I just became so, like you said, proficient at what I was doing and the mechanics, and I died enough times that I was just the game became more of a puzzle game and less of a scary game because I just knew what was going to happen. I was like, oh, okay, he's here. I got to get to there. How am I going to figure this out? I'm going to piece it out. I'm going to grab their attention. I'm going to hide over here. Then I'm going to, pop around. It just became a really good kind of puzzle game. And I'm like, that's good. But also I feel like I should be scared, but I'm glad because then I wouldn't beat this game. Like I wouldn't beat it if I was too scared.
Well, I think that's fair. And when you start out, you really do have nothing. It wasn't until they finally gave access to the scanner that I started to like feel more motivated. It points you in the right direction. It doesn't always give you where you need to go, but it gives you the general like this is the path you need to take. And then, weapons, you do feel much better when you have something to defend yourself. Even if it is the Molotov cocktail or the flamethrower where you can scare off the alien for a short amount of time, but it still isn't going to get rid of it. And some things you can kill. The Xenomorph, no. You're stuck with him.
Also,
even the androids though, it takes a lot of shots to
does.
take them
it's
down.
it's one good close headshot.
With the bolt
with
gun,
shotgun.
yes.
Oh no, with
or
the
the
shotgun.
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 Oh yeah, the
shotgun's
shotgun.
really good.
But with the handgun, yes, it's going to take you a while. With the wrench, don't even get me started.
I was going to say, I watched Joel use the scanner because it does have like a kind of a arrow to show you where you need to go.
Yeah.
I have not been using that.
What?
I've just been paying attention to the map. I'll pull up the map, and then I was like, okay, I got to go 2 lefts and a right. Got it. And then I just do that.
How do you deal with it when you have to go through a spare tunnel? Like you have to crawl through it, and it's not on the map.
They sometimes appear on the map. the vents, they will sometimes appear on.
Not always.
And also,
Man,
I kind of look at them. I look at the map before I get into it.
Can't
and I
wait
look
for
at the
you to
map
play
when I
chapter
pop out.
14 then. Or is it... where's the one where you get to the hive? Is it 14 or 15? I think it's 15.
That's
I
15.
think it's 15.
Oh, I can't wait for that. Yeah, I'll just look at the map. Where am I going?
Yeah, then I might have to use it. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
for
for sure.
for where I've been through that most of the game, I've just been looking at the map, and that's pretty. That they do a good job of marking that pretty clearly, and that makes me happy with
If
that.
you have the map and you download it in the area, then yes, I can
Yeah.
see that being a viable option. But I felt that I've been able... Once I got that stuff, the game has really flown. And then once I got weapons, it was much easier to do stuff.
Anything I can do to avoid popping open a menu every couple minutes, I'll do. the radar works pretty well.
Yeah.
And I rarely found myself looking at the maps.
I'm just happy because I like them. I like a good readable map. I hate when a map is just either filled with gobbledygook or I don't even know where I am. I'm like, I don't know what this is. This is foreign to me. They had really good maps, so I was very happy. I was like, oh, cool. I know what I'm doing. Perfect. Yeah. So I think that was a good plus for this game. I do think like it does a really good job of keeping a good narrative. I was moving on to the next thing, but I definitely kept getting these beats of like, oh my god, I've met somebody and they're talking to me about the state of the place and what's been happening, and giving me some backstory to the ongoings of the ship. I like that. And even like cutscenes were surprising to me. They had a good not a lot, but they had like 6 or 7 cutscenes throughout. And a playable flashback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a thing that happened.
I like the playable flashback.
It was all right. It reminded me of the movie Prometheus. It was basically Prometheus.
But that's also basically Alien. Like that's the scene from Alien.
It is
Okay.
is also the scene from Prometheus.
Yeah. So Joel,
Yes.
as someone who has never seen Alien, any of that series, there was a progenitor race called what were they called? Did we have a name for them?
To
No,
the Google.
I don't think
Yeah.
that there was.
There was a progenitor race, and they basically built the Xenomorphs as weapons.
They're the
Okay.
perfect
Kinda-
organism.
Yeah, to wipe out whole planets. And that's what they would do, is they would drive their ship. So in the playable flashback that you saw, that giant beast in the chair, it was originally called the Space Jockey, but it is that progenitor race. They was sitting in the chair and he died.
Oh, okay. All right.
And you kind of see them flying that ship around and dropping off these ships at places in the prequel movies, Prometheus, and what was the other one?
I refuse to acknowledge the other one.
I heard it was good.
Sure. I saw Prometheus in theaters and I was like, wow,
Covenant.
can't believe you
Prometheus
did
and-
this to me.
And Covenant.
So they were actually just called the progenitors.
Okay.
Sounds good.
There you go. Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah.
So, so that's what you were seeing, and in Alien, that's where they get the first alien, is from there. That scene you saw also happened in Alien. So this was another crew coming to see what would happen to the Nostromo through a beacon, distress beacon. And you get a flashback to this team going like, oh, let's turn off that distress beacon. We want to get this stuff first because we'll make some money. And then it's the same thing that happens. The Nostromo happens here.
Yay, capitalism.
Yep.
It's the setting for the Alien movies is always so weird to me that everything is futuristic, but it's like if we were stuck in the 1970s, because everybody uses like an IBM computer.
I mean, but that's the thing. That's what they thought the future was going to look like back then. I mean,
It's
when did Alien...
the whole retro future.
It's
Alien
thing.
Alien came out in 1979, sir.
So what's your defense for Blade Runner?
When did that come out? 80s?
I don't know, man. I don't have the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't Google that right now.
82.
There we go.
So
Yeah,
3
see,
years
same-
later, and it was like, yeah, I'd say fairly more accurate.
I mean, everything is just trying to imagine the future. Different people have different images.
None of this makes any sense. I'm completely drunk.
I mean,
But-
I think Alien nailed it with everything is in a corporate hellhole.
We're also in a world where you
Swish.
read about our government having computers running like the programs on DOS programs and stuff like that.
Because
You
they're
know.
not connected to the internet because you can't hack them, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I could see it being that kind of archaic construct of a computer
But not
system.
this spaceship. And that was one of the cool things about being on this space station is that it gave them more freedom to make it look more futuristic than what you see in the spaceships in the other films.
They actually said, fun fact that came up organically that I have in the written out here, is that the dev team was given 3 terabytes of data, including partial scripts, future projects, original ideas, artwork, sound effects. Like the people who were doing like the Foley work, who were making like the squelch sounds, they got the original squelch sounds on recordings. Like they had all of this 3 terabytes of data from Fox Studios saying like, here you go, make yourself a game.
And that was how long ago?
10 years. Well,
10
plus
years
dev
ago?
time. So probably like 12 to 14.
That's a lot of data for
Yeah.
back then. Back in
And
my
so
day.
So the idea also was that they were trying to stay as 100% true to what you would see in those movies. That's why you see like there's like security cameras. There aren't security cameras in the Alien movies, but what they did was that the security cameras shine a big bright grid.
Yeah.
It's like avoid the security camera in this giant white grid. It's like, oh yeah, I could see old timey cameras, like security cams in the faux future, doing this.
Futuristic, old-timey cameras.
Yeah,
Oh, man. They loved grids in the 70s.
they loved them.
I saw
A lot of
Tron.
video games, right, that were just on grids. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the 3DO. No, the 3DO.
I don't. You keep
The
saying
Coleco?
stuff, and I'm not using the
The
internet. So.
Coleco.
Grids are the future. That's
They
all I'm
are.
saying.
Excel, spreadsheets. I get it. Either way, I think they did a really good job of the future. Like one of the things that I had read was the motion tracker. It doesn't always work. It's like mine. I was out in the open, and I was tracking the alien, and it froze, and I had to put it down and pick it back up for it to like track the alien again. Like the alien was still blinking, and then turns out he was gone. I was like, "What? This thing was wrong? I can't trust this thing 100% at all."
Now, you
And
know,
that-
sometimes the alien is in the vents, but it wasn't until I got to the hive when it was just showing pings
Just blinking
everywhere.
everywhere.
And I was like, oh, come on, man.
Now this is completely useless.
Yeah, now I'm afraid of everything. And before I was just afraid of some things. So, on that vein, what this game does really well is the atmosphere that you have in this space station and some of the unique ways that you get attacked or that you can die. Do you guys have a favorite way that you were massacred, either by an android or an alien?
Go ahead.
I'm not
I-
sure
I
about.
have one.
I mean, massacre-wise, I mean, it was always pretty jarring when he got stabbed through the stomach from behind by the alien, and then just having the like hand grab you from the face. I found really funny when the working Joes grab you and they'll just toss you across the hallway.
Yeah.
So that was always funny to me. But those interactions with them always felt really, really harrowing. When they're grabbing you and like choking you and hitting you and stuff, there's almost something more terrifying about having to fight through that than necessarily the quick kills.
Because
that the alien
the
does.
instant death from the alien. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a couple of good ones One, I came out of a vent and I heard I was messing around, and I was very much in that like, I don't care, just go away type of mood. And I'm like, okay, the alien's here. The alien's here. Yes, I'm aware you're here. Just come out so I can hit you with the flamethrower. And I'm like, okay, he's left, right, left, right, left, right. And I start to back up a little bit. And I just, all of a sudden he does you got stabbed through the chest. I was like, oh, I just bumped right into him, didn't I? And I'm hearing him all around me, but I'm like, where is he? I don't see him.
Or what about the times when you're in the middle of doing something and then they tear you to shreds? Like it's how many times you're doing the 3 lever down to start a generator thing, and on the 3rd time you hear that noise of it about to get you, and yeah, it's bad.
The other one was
No ceiling kills?
Oh,
Yeah,
I got.
I wanted
killed.
to forget the ceiling.
Oh.
I got ceiling killed for sure.
A lot, yeah, and you did good at it, and then you get later into the game, and you forget about it because of everything else that's going on, especially as you get into those deeper spots.
The other one I was going to say is that again, the bane of my existence was there was that run in chapter 7, I want to say, where it's just like go down the hallway, down this twisting hallway, and there's humans and aliens. And I kept just banging my head against it. And at one point, I watched a speed run, and I'm like, I'm going to do this what the speed runner does. And I was just sprinting down the hall, and I was actually doing okay. But one of the times, I was sprinting, and I was like, I got this. The door's in front of me. The door's in front of me. And if the alien gets close to you when you're running, he can just trip you.
Yep.
And he tripped me, and my character falls down the face, lifts up, and he almost does like an Akira, the Akira motorcycle slide sideways. He Tokyo drifts around me and is like right at my face, then I'm like, oh, come on. Like he trips you, and then Tokyo drifts in front of you and just stares at you ready to go. And I was like, oh, come on. That's kind of cool. Because if they're behind you, they do the stab and the claw hand thing. I've seen that enough times now. I know that animation. I did not know if I'm sprinting that he could just trip me and then do this cool, sick move around to curve around me to get in my face. It was very funny.
Very nice.
There are also times with the flamethrower where it's supposed to be a make them run away thing, and I would blast them with a flamethrower. They'd just be standing there waiting for it to go away. And then
or they would like hit you, yeah, and then
yeah.
Like, come
and then
on,
run
man.
off. If you get them just enough as they're about to pounce on you, it'll be like knock you over, and then you'll get up and they're gone. We haven't mentioned the face huggers yet, and that's always a quick jump from the ground. And just this terrible sound when it goes to black, like the kind of
squelching.
Yeah. I have not gotten killed by one yet, but I know that they are now around in the game. Because I have hit that threshold, so they could be anywhere, and that's the dead giveaway. You hear this high pitched sound, and then they will just show up.
Yep. There was what I didn't like. I didn't like the working Joe. What are they called? The working Joes?
Yeah.
Yep.
I didn't. So I would do when I finally figured out the stun baton. If they started their animation of when they're going to grab you, my stun baton would literally go through their body. Mm-hmm. And that bothered me. That made me feel like it was a little cheap. I was like, this should interrupt your animation. I don't care what you say.
You saying that the game's cheating?
I mean, in that case, yes.
When
I'm somewhat with you on that, because even with going back to try and get a headshot, and you get the bolt
gun. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get one good shot, it just thunks in their forehead and they fall over with weird white liquid spilling out. But
that's right. He doesn't know about the milk.
Yeah. But you get caught in the animation, and even if it was supposed to be a headshot, it's like you shot way off in the distance and they grab you.
I had a pipe bomb disappear. I threw a pipe bomb at 2 working Joes, and they somehow went, and it flew into the ether. And I was like, that's not cool.
Okay, pipe bomb.
Yes.
Was it under some other name? Because I'm starting to think that I might have missed.
You must not have gotten the blueprint.
Oh, that's brutal.
Is that?
So you can't? Do you have no explosion bombs?
I even messaged you like when you were playing earlier, and I was like, "Use the pipe bomb." You don't. You never had the pipe bomb.
Never had the pipe bomb.
Oh,
wow, that's brutal.
No. It was all guns and kiting around the working Joes to try to.
that's tough
you know
stuff,
what?
man.
You know what? I watched you on that stream where chapter 13 or 14, and I remember like you really like grabbing a bunch of those androids and circling around a couple times so you had all three of them together, and then you would do what you got to do, and then I got there and I'm like, F that. Pipe bomb, Molotov cocktail, one of each kills them, and I got them all together, and then I did that, and then I was like, I don't know why Joel is doing the thing he's doing. I'm just walking around, and everyone's dead. It's great.
Made the game harder by missing that item.
That's rough.
I didn't do it
usually they give you multiple chances. Like those things are kind of in a
Upgrades
couple
for
of
them.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Do you guys have any like good clutch by a skin of your teeth moment? There were a few times where it sort of did what Alex did. It was just like, this is just a hallway. The door's over there. I'm going to run for it to the elevator. And I was able to get to the elevator and close the door just as the alien was about to pounce at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I had a
once.
working Joe on the train, and that bothered me. I was like, you should not be here. I got the train. God, and I had to fight him still. The train wouldn't leave until I killed him.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's rough.
Yeah.
It's no good.
I ran to the train, and then he was like, got in there at the last second. I was like, no. Yeah. Alex, did you have any close calls?
I feel like most of this game was close calls for me.
Yeah.
Really, just the only one I remember is I was getting shot at when a train arrived and made it in there. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I really need a med kit.
Oh, you know what? I do remember that, and I killed everybody. So they like before even that section. So like I'm like, hit the button for the train, and then I just went, okay, I guess I'm just chilling here. Yeah, so that makes sense.
What about the save system? How do you feel about that?
I get it. I didn't like it.
I'm okay with it.
It should save at the end of a chapter.
I think that is fair. However, there's usually a save point immediately after a chapter ends.
Yep.
But not always.
Like
I'm just
95%
telling you is that
of the time. Unless you didn't, you were checking the map every 5 seconds, so you didn't see the save point.
No, that I'm saying is that I went to, I beat a level, and then it was at least 20 minutes until the next save point.
No,
and
No
I died,
way.
and I had to go all the way back.
Joel, you finished the game. Did that ever happen to you?
Chapter 7 was mean.
At the start of a chapter, I don't remember that. There have been points in this game where you can spend 20-25 minutes between sections
But
and not find a good saving point.
in the stage, not at the beginning, because usually it's just sitting right there, or you can backtrack a small amount of time to find it. I didn't have any issue with that. Like, I get that it takes, 6 seconds in order for you to save, and it is a tense 6 seconds because you watch all of the lights go through the cycle, and then it's like, oh, did you want to save? Like, yes, I wanted to save. It doesn't automatically do it. It prompts you and asks you if you wanted to save.
And it defaults to no.
It defaults to no. Yeah, and that's messed up.
Yeah, that is messed up.
In the save points, it'll tell you when you're about to save if there are hostiles nearby.
Yes, it will.
That always made me super nervous.
And let me tell you, late game, there is no saving without there being hostiles nearby. And it is the gauntlet you go on near the end is some of the most terribly frustrating stuff. But it was just a quick sprint from spot to spot to spot, just trying to get these small little chunks of time saved away, just so you can, not have to retread that same one spot over and over. It just they bundle you in these spaces where there are 2 or 3 different aliens running around, and once you're at that point, your head is on such a swivel. Like there's one section where it is just a long hallway, and then you walk in front and there's an alien, and then you walk behind you and there's an alien.
You gotta fire, yeah.
Exactly. Like you have to be really on the fly for a game that doesn't necessarily feel equipped to handle that.
No.
Which makes sense. You're supposed to feel weak and
you're an engineer. This is a bad day. This is
like
we're
talking Dead Space now.
Yeah, poor Isaac.
This is a bad day.
Yeah, he just wanted to go and see his wife, and then, well, we all know how that ended, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't.
I've
never beaten Dead Space.
Most of us know how that ended.
It's really good.
Half of us know how that ended.
It's really good. Dead Space is really good. It's one of the best ones. Either way, yeah, I think that the save system was good, but I also had I just wish it would that was the one caveat I wanted, was save at the end of a chapter. They do a whole loading screen. Just save the game. Just save the game.
You can't have it. No.
Answer the phone.
So, yeah.
So, Alex, I understand you have some more fun facts for us?
More fun facts for you guys regarding this game, thanks to whatculture.com and a couple other websites I breezed through, but whatculture.com was the main one. Amanda Ripley is modeled after Sigourney Weaver's mother. The reason being is that if you paid attention to the films, they go through a whole section where time happens in different speeds in different areas. So Ripley is gone so long that her daughter is like an elderly woman, and they show her photos of her elderly daughter, and it's pictures of Sigourney Weaver's mother.
Oh.
So to keep in line, this was modeled after younger Sigourney Weaver's mother.
That is fun.
That's fun. The other one is... Oh, there's many here. The alien operates on the menace gauge, and he never cheats. So this is a two-parter. The alien is... it always seems like the alien, you can kind of hear them, that they are around. They're physically around. They aren't appear and reappear. In fact, there are only two sections, two pieces, parts, and I can name one of them, where they teleport. And that is Chapter 7, when you do the gauntlet. Once you enter and you reach the point that the gauntlet ends, and you make it to the save part, there's a cut scene where the alien appears. That's when he teleports. But any of the other times, the alien never teleports. It will always be somewhere in the station, and it doesn't cheat. It's got a series of routines, like a skill tree, a bunch of skill trees. And as you do certain things, the skill trees keep expanding until the aliens get smart enough. So if you constantly hide in lockers, it will start checking lockers. So the way it is looking, the alien at least is always fair, meaning that it has a very specific eye line. So if it catches you when you're underneath a table, it's because it can.
I know he can, but he won't, because I'm just that clever.
Well, no, the thing is, if he's close to you, he can't. His eye line doesn't match it. But if he's far enough away, he can see you underneath the table. So it's like things like that the alien was programmed very dynamically. So it's got a giant skill set that it will slowly expand over the course of the game to learn how to catch you. And then on top of that, the menace gauge, meaning it will also tell you how long it's been since something suspenseful has happened. The game has a lot of scenarios that it counts as suspenseful or scary. And the longer that nothing happens, the gauge builds up, and then it's like, okay, we have to get the alien in there. We have to make the player nervous.
See, that's neat.
So, yeah, so the game dynamically adds the alien as an element in there. Like, the alien will look around, he'll find you, but for a lot of times they'll say, okay, get the alien in here. He needs to start going on the hunt. He's got to start patrolling because the character hasn't seen the alien in, like, the last, 40 minutes.
40 minutes seems like a long time.
It's usually like 10 minutes. I'm being facetious. Usually it's like 10 minutes, not even.
So when we first started this game, Geddy mentioned something about the mics being able to make it to where the aliens can detect you. I did learn that's not an option on PC, that it was a console-only thing.
Okay.
Did any of us play on console?
Yes, but I don't have the camera. So
Okay, you also need a camera to...
it's supposed to pick up on light and sound, according to...
Oh, so they want to make sure you were in darkness when you were playing the
to
game.
really
Got
scare
it.
your pants off.
All right.
That's
All
real
right.
fun.
Huh. That... I
Sad
imagine
that it
could
wasn't
change the
on
experience a
PC.
lot. Yeah, that seems like a really strange omission, especially since everybody has webcams.
Yeah,
So I think it's
but-
more the fact of that there's so many different webcams, it's hard to be how to make them work for one of them, as opposed to okay, we gotta have to. There's only one webcam on a PlayStation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, different webcams, different microphones. With the PlayStation, you've got it in the controller.
All right, so then, more fun facts. The sound dynamically changes to emphasize the xenomorph, meaning that when a xenomorph is in play, his sounds are above anything else. So you will hear him over anything. Now, whether the volume changes based on location, of course, but whether he's really far away or close by, I guess louder. But the idea being that you hear him over any environmental sound, because it's supposed to make you, again, very nervous.
Okay.
Let's see here. The crafting mats are randomized,
Yes.
and that is fun.
Oh,
Because
really?
Yes.
I know that because there were a couple of times when I died and I went back and it was not the same items.
That is, I think it's supposed to be per game, not per time you die. Because I was seeing the same items, but the thing is, what I meant was, I watched a speedrunner do a section. I watched Joel play that same exact section, and everybody's item in one specific spot was different than mine. But whenever I would die and come back, because I did that section dozens and dozens of times, and it was always the same item.
Oh, maybe it was exclusive to that one area, but I definitely had a couple of times when I was like, nope, this isn't what I wanted. This is nothing.
And that's supposed to make it so that you have to adapt on the fly. Use what's given to you.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah.
Is that
So
what
much
you did?
scrap left everywhere.
Yeah, the scrap I barely used. Other than that, the 20th Century Fox provided the devs 3 terabytes of data because they wanted to help them make the game the best and closest possible to the series. So they had a lot to work with, including a lot of sound and sound effects and artwork. Another thing was that the alien's design was changed from the original design of the alien only because the alien in the movies has, I believe, is forward knees like ours, because it was somebody in a suit, but they felt like it didn't look that fast in the game, so they reversed his knees to be backwards.
His tail was super long,
Super
well.
long. Yeah.
which
Yeah,
was
it clipped
terrifying.
a couple of times on me.
I definitely would that was the one thing I would think about was that I would not see him. I'd be under a table, but I would just see the tail slinking away, and I'm like, that's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Get that thing away from me. I don't want it here.
Get that thing.
So, one of the things that I wanted to mention, since this is, we have been doing spoilers, and I don't think that, since Joel is the only one who finished the game as of this recording, I don't think he's going to like really spoil anything, but that's up to him. One of the big tropes in the Alien movies is that the androids are usually in on it, and it being we need to bring back all of the perfect organism to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation so that they can market it as a weapon, what have you. I don't know what these people want with it, but Samuel's not a bad guy. Turns out he was actually a good guy.
That was breaking the trope, and I was very confused by that, for sure.
Well, yeah, because you see at one point where he goes off on his own, and you're like, oh, shoot, did he go rogue? Is he going to come after me?
Yeah, that was my thought. I was like, oh, man, he's going to Paul Reiser this so bad.
It's not Paul even... Reiser, it's so many of them.
He was in part 2.
Yeah. But it's so many of them. That's the problem. Like, I had come to expect...
What's his name? Michael whatever? Fassbender? Michael Fassbender.
That is an actor.
Yeah. Which one was he in?
He was the android in Prometheus.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, yes, he was. You know what? He was.
Yep.
Also a dick. Yeah, he was technically he was the first one that created the cycle of violence. But no, it's I was happy to see that they did something a little bit different. As I approach the end of the game, though, I feel like the other person, Nina, I'm not gonna like that as much. Nope. There's got to be something up here. There's got to be some weird things going on.
Weyland-Yutani is still a company.
Somehow. They break all these regulations. I hear that they're using faulty moon rocks in their space stations.
Oh, how dare they.
You know what? As long as they make more money than the fine is.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Sad reality.
Sound business strategy right there.
You can afford it. Oh, Getty. Whose call was this game?
Joel.
I don't know about call. We asked what we all wanted to play, and I threw that out there, and everybody said, okay.
The joke, I was putting it on you. I absolutely wanted to play this game. This was the game I wanted to play. For sure.
It's just something that ever since I started playing PC games over the last 12, 15 years, that was always one that got brought up in Steam sales of like, oh, this is the game to get. And not being a horror game aficionado, it's not something that ever crossed my path. But with this, it was a good excuse to try.
So since Joel picked it, I think he has to give it, or he has to do the scoring part, right? That's what you're getting at?
Yeah. And I was going to ask, like, what he thought about his time with this and the idea, like another one of these where it's I don't know what the genre is called, but it's where you don't even really, it's more about hiding than anything else.
I think that this was a case where the deeper you get into this game, the fear gets sucked out of it a little too much. Like, there's the creatures themselves stop being so terrifying on their own. It is then becoming situational about, do you have multiple, or do you have humans that are walking around it now? And the tension lessens, the fear lessens, but some of that dynamic stuff still comes into play. Like when there's a human and an alien run into each other and you get to play them off of each other and run away from a skirmish. Or you escape by the skin of your teeth. It still has those really great moments in it. The story is perfectly serviceable. You know, what I would expect out of this kind of story, and it works fine. If we want to talk grades, I would give it maybe a solid B. Like it didn't blow me out. Didn't blow me out of the water. It was entertaining enough. It had some blemishes, gameplay wise, that were a little detracting, and the ending wasn't quite. The ending gameplay chapters was a little too on the punishing side for my tastes.
What did you think of the ending?
The ending was fine. I mean, it's kind of what I expected to happen leading up to the end of it.
Don't say anything, but that's what.
No, I won't. I won't say
spoilers.
anything. I will not say anything. But it is the kind of ending I expected for this kind of story.
Okay.
So you fall in love with the alien?
I mean, you team up with the Predator to take out the alien.
You know, if that's how
it's
it
weird.
actually happened, then I would love this game.
Hey, they allude to this in Predator 2.
Yeah, they do.
I really wanted you to say President Evil.
Yeah, that's where I thought was trying.
Not what I was thinking, but that's fine. I like that name.
Yeah, we could make that game. We just need to figure out how to make video games and make it good.
Yeah,
RPG
it's
Maker.
okay. The idea is the hard part, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
it's just all the other stuff. Sure. I could go next then. Sure.
Yeah.
I have not finished it. I will plan to finish it probably this weekend. The time has gotten away from me. I thought that it was a slow burn. It starts off, and I was not in love with it. I was actually a little like, oh, this is kind of silly. I don't have any way to really navigate. I don't have any way to defend myself. And I know that there are games where you don't get the opportunity to defend yourself. Again, we played, what was it?
Amnesia.
Amnesia, where
Yeah.
you don't have anything. But in this, like, I know that there are weapons. Like, come on, give me something. So when I finally started to get it, things started to fly. I have enjoyed some of the story elements, listening to the things that are going on in the space station. I'm interested to see how it ends. Depending on how the ending, I think that's going to make or break it for me. I was sitting around a B, but if the ending is, not exactly what I'm expecting, I would move it up to an A. If it's predictable, it's going to stay a B.
You're going to have to check in once you're done.
Yeah,
That's all.
sure.
Okay.
But during Extra Life, not on this
No,
podcast.
not on... No.
And then I'll go. I think that I'm not really good with spooky games. I'm not really good with any of that kind of stuff. Scary games. I'm a big scaredy cat. I think that this was just enough of the scariness that I was able to push through. And while I know you guys are saying that a lot of the tension kind of disappears, for me, the lowering of the tension made it that much more sustainable for me to continue. I don't know if I could continue playing the game at the level of tension that it starts at, and it makes me feel more comfortable and confident in how I could play that game.
This is not even like the scariest game that you could play either.
Oh, absolutely not. No, and I would never play that game. But it's more about the fact that it does what it does in such a way that I felt like it eased me into feeling comfortable with the tension, to the point that even now it still is quote-unquote tense, and I feel more comfortable there. I feel like it definitely put me in that. Training wheeled me into feeling comfortable with this kind of fear. And that was what I liked about it most. But then throw in the other idea that, dynamic gameplay, items and situations and people. I definitely did that run in Chapter 7, 27 times. And each time people were placed in different places. And the alien would pop out of different places. It was different every time. And what made it more frustrating for me was because it was so variable, but that also makes it amazing. Music, design, everything. I really, really, really like this game. So I will give it an A-. It isn't perfect. I definitely had a couple of times, again, the items would just disappear on me, or, animations wouldn't get broken when I wanted them to be. Games wouldn't save where I think they should save.
No, but yeah, I
A-.
feel you.
Yeah.
All right. So I got less far than any of you all did, as we discussed before the podcast. But I enjoyed what this game was doing. I enjoyed the atmosphere. I mean, I'm using enjoy loosely. It did a good job of it. I also do not like spooky games. Horror games are not my jam. But this had a nice playthrough for it for what I got to. I'm thinking that I'm just going to look up and watch a playthrough of it from where I am.
What chapter are you on?
I don't know the chapter number. It's been like a week.
Right. Just because I think that if you got to chapter 10, you would kind of you would feel more like the tension drops dramatically.
Yeah. There's some of that. Some of it's just I'm not good at this game. I don't have the patience to wait for the pattern of the androids or the humans or sneak up on them and murder them. But I like that you have those options. I like what it's doing.
You say sneak. There's no sneak kills. You're pipe bombing them.
Yeah, you go up behind them and you club them.
But there's not like...
it's not an instant kill.
No.
Yeah.
You always have to hit them several times.
Well, the humans, you can get them in one shot.
I feel like it always took me 2 or 3 times.
But
yeah. I also never was able to sneak up on a human. They pulled their guns at the sound of a light breeze.
That is not accurate at all, but I really want to play with Alex one of these days.
I would be like I would be around a corner and all of a sudden I would just sit, like he'd be like, "Oh, I wonder what's on this ground." Gun.
You know, it'd be funny if we found out that Alex did play it with like this sound element where it was picking up his microphone and he's just leading to his own demise.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this a B. I think it would also make an excellent movie. Just cut out like half of the sneaking around, but that suspense that you get, it really is done well. A good experience. So I think I'm going to look up a Let's Play or whatever and finish it out and see the end.
Put at least one scene where they're in the locker. Boom, you nailed the movie.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we will forego our normal one last thing because this is a spooky episode. Unless you guys want to give one last spooky
I mean, what is everyone doing? What is everyone doing for Halloween? Or not even what are they doing for Halloween? What are you guys doing for the spooky season? Are you guys doing anything that gets you kind of like in the mood? Are you going to Yankee Candle? Are you getting some pumpkin spice whatnots?
Yankee Candle.
Yeah. I'm talking to Kelly. I could tell you right now that I've seen more horror movies than I have all year. I definitely have been like, I want to watch a little scary movie. You know, I've seen Late Night with the Devil. I've seen The Substance. I've seen the biannual viewing of Nightmare Before Christmas.
I gotta watch Clue. That's always a Halloween standby for me.
Don't understand that at all whatsoever.
You have to watch it.
I mean, I've seen it.
I saw Speak No Evil. That was a decent thriller suspense movie. Been watching Nightmare on Elm Street. Always have to shout out Haunting starring Poltergeist for the Sega Genesis. Probably one of the best spooky games out there.
Joel, have you seen Dale and Tucker vs. Evil?
No.
Should definitely check that out.
It's two guys who just go to their cabin to go camping, and they're very much like the rednecks, and a bunch of teens are next door, and they just keep getting so afraid of the rednecks next door that they keep like dying. And it's just like the whole time they're like,
it is so
what
stupid, but so
the
funny.
main characters, Dale and Tucker, are just like, why do they keep dying?
So is it almost like they're being built up as this Jason Voorhees kind of folklore tale thing, and it's just them trying to stay out of people's lives?
Not even like that.
Yes.
They just like, hey man, I'm going to go outside, and then something terrible happened, like he'll spill a whole bunch of ketchup on himself. and it'll look like blood, and he'll walk outside, and one of the teenagers will be there, and they'll be like, ah, and then just run into the forest and impale themselves, and they're like, why did you do that? Why is he dead now?
Dale and Tucker, and then they're like, oh my god, he's still alive. Let me help him. And they pull his face off of like a spike, and all of the teens look out the window at the perfect moment. They're like, oh my god, they got our friend. And they're like, no. It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
Dale and Tucker vs. Evil
check
is
it
a
out.
very good Halloween movie.
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. What about you, Alec? Do you do anything?
I put up an inflatable, and I've gone to like 4 pumpkin patches.
That's a
pretty
lot
solid.
of pumpkin patches.
I'm going to another one on Saturday. It's intense.
How many pumpkins do you have?
Mostly I go for the apples.
Okay.
Tanner's?
Going to Tanner's on Saturday, yep.
Nice.
How
Hopefully
many
we'll have
apples
something
do you have? We got a bag of like 60 apples, like from one of those places. We went there and picked like 60 or something apples. It was crazy. Mm-hmm. We're eating two a day here, each of us.
That's a lot of sugar, man.
Not
I
even
like
joking.
them apples.
Love them.
You got to dice them up into little cubes, put them in a slow cooker, and make your own apple butter.
No.
You know?
I made apple beer cheddar soup. It was okay.
It sounds like it would just be okay.
Yeah.
It just tastes like beer cheddar soup. The apples were in there for no reason.
Texture?
What was that?
No, I don't
Maybe
even think that that's
texture?
the right texture.
I mean, kind of. It was. I mean, it was a thickener for sure. Kenny, what do you do?
Nothing. I usually just play spooky games, so
Have you played anything else spooky?
I plan on playing Little Nightmares 2 after I am done with this.
Okay. I have to review Crow Country. Crow Country or Crow County? And that is a PlayStation 1 era Resident Evil survival horror game.
I hope you
So
survive.
I'm ready for spooky season, baby.
All right. I think we did everything we needed to do here. Successfully. Maybe not, but we did it. Okay, that'll be it for this week's episode of Super GG Radio. Before we go, you can find us on Twitter at Super GG Radio and twitch.tv/Super GG Radio, where we won't be really streaming anything except for Extra Life coming up here. That is, November 2nd? All day. Mm-hmm. All day, 24 hours. Come check us out. We're going to be going strong, representing local children's hospitals in our area. If you don't know about it, we invite you to head on over to any of our social media outlets and just look at what we do and what Extra Life is.
As of this recording, we are $2,919 out of our $5,000 goal.
Alex has at least another, what was it, 8,000, so that we can tase Joel.
I agreed to nothing. Just want to make sure we're clear about that for posterity here.
Mm-hmm. No, we're gonna grab more than 10,000. We gotta do it a couple of times, Joel. A couple of times, and even for the 10,000,
these are not stackable offers either.
Also, at the same time, the 10,000 was for each of us. So one $10,000 donation, and we get each a turn tasing.
I don't know if I agree to that. I'm not going to tase anybody.
In the testicles, we said.
No.
I'm enjoying this fantasy you're making. That's
I'd tase Joel.
Why did I buy a taser on Amazon?
You know what? I bet you would tase me, Alec.
But it would
Joel,
be a nice,
why did I buy a taser on Amazon?
It would be a tasteful
Why?
tasing.
Tell me, Joel, why did I buy the taser?
Alex,
It was like
What
You gotta
you
return
do in your time with your taser.
my lavender taser. It's lavender.
did you also get the collar to go with it?
No, I did not get the that felt weird. It was for couples, and I definitely didn't want to get into that.
Okay. All right.
With a lavender taser with a nice little carrying case, clutch.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it fits in. It fits in your clutch. That's what it says.
Wonderful. After that, you can check us out with our normal weekly streams. We'll probably be semi back to normal. Not really, but yeah, check us out. And if you'd like to reach us with questions or input, our email address is mail@superggradio.com, and provide us a review on iTunes or the podcast app of your choice. You can
Kenny, I
also...
forgot to mention, make sure you listen to Werewolf Bar Mitzvah. Good.
Please check out our Patreon, where you can get monthly pictures of our dogs, get your name read off in the credits as an executive producer, free copies of early adopter games, and you can even, play games with us, these people who you're listening to right now. Thanks for...
Hey, you could play Satisfactory with Joel and I.
You could.
That is something that could happen.
It could happen.
I'd play some Satisfactory with somebody, wouldn't you, Joel?
Maybe.
Hell
Depends
yeah.
on how much they mess up my production.
Yeah, he's
line.
got his own save, remember? He's already abandoned you.
You have a separate save. It's fine.
Thanks for listening, and good game, Alex.
GG, Getty.
Good game, Joel.
Good game.
Good game, Alec.
GG.
Spooky. Ooh.